Geek Tank Radio, News Talk 98.9, the roar of Memphis.
Welcome, everyone. We are the Geek Patrol, and our microphones don't have a stun setting. This episode of Geek Tank Radio is brought to you by Sparky's Steakhouse, where all of our meats are cooked in a microwave oven. No one gets your steak to the table faster than Sparky's Steakhouse.
Rota, you just called Allan to have a heart attack.
Nothing makes me laugh better than watch Allan cringe about food. You know, just triggering that man. Yeah.
Because that reaction from Allan is great, but it only works if we're on video.
Yeah, we need video reactions. So, anyway, welcome to Geek Tank Radio, everybody. Yeah, Allan, I mean, this was written for you, sir, and all you're doing is either vomiting or making horrified faces. So.
I'm just such a... You know, I know the cow was dead, but don't waste it. Oh, my gosh.
Anyway, well, it's not just the cow, Allan. The seafood, everything goes in that microwave, and it's down to your table in seconds.
Man, all I'm thinking was a line from Dan Aykroyd, and it goes, rubber biscuit. That's all I got to say.
I'm gonna put this out there. If you have ever cooked fish in a microwave, whatever happens to you horribly in your life, you deserve it.
Okay. Anyway, welcome to Geek Tank Radio, everybody. Boy, a long, protracted reaction, but anyway.
Well, you spent 7 minutes laughing at yourself. We had a rule when we were at the other station. Joe says something 4 times and he still laughs. We don't put it on the air.
Anyway, boy, what a sloppy intro. I'm Joe Thorderson, here with my friends Brandon Olmsted, Alan Gilbert, and our pal Max behind the glass.
Hi, Max.
We are in the thick of things. This is the heart of Halloween season. Boy, I haven't heard the end of it with Brandon.
No.
Well, and later we are going to hear about your haunted web experience. Great sponsors of the station too, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So you got to go. That's your thing.
That's my thing, man.
Hey guys, we did receive a bad geek confession. As we know, as people know, we want your bad geek confession. So we're going to read that later on the air. We're going to analyze and break it down and decide what needs to happen to this person. And by
we're gonna shame you.
Hey, shame all you want, but she's getting 2 free tickets to the Memphis Comic and Fantasy.
Therefore, we're uplifting you and celebrating you.
Yeah, so by ridiculing you benefit. So,
yes.
Hey, guys, later...
wait, that's capitalism.
We can't talk about it today, but I hope next week we can talk about it, because at 1:30 p.m. today, they're dropping a new trailer for The Batman, and Brandon and I are at odds with this. He thinks it's too violent. I don't know. To me, it looks like it's going to be a great movie.
I am a gore hound. I love my horror movies. I love the splatter. I love the torture. I love all of it when it comes to horror. But when you hear reviewers comparing the new Riddler to Jigsaw, that's not my Batman.
Well, my hope with that is, because the Riddler is not that kind of character, my hope is that maybe they're playing that up, and maybe he's playing that up, and maybe he's more about the Riddler. Whatever, we're gonna find out. But it looks like it's gonna be a very different kind of Batman. So, but before we get to any of that, you guys, I did want to mention something, and I don't know if this fits into Geek Tank or not, but Rick,
it does now.
You know what a big Smiths fan I am. Even though, I'll be honest, it's funny. I love the Smiths, but I cannot stand Morrissey. He just gets on my nerves. I actually saw Morrissey in concert with my daughter, and it was the first time I ever walked out of a concert and depressed. Well, the last song. I mean,
it's Morrissey. You're gonna.
There's a happy pop tunes producing artist.
Well, here's the thing. It was my daughter's first concert. I think she was like 16 or whatever. And I had to explain. I said, normally you don't walk out of a concert. Hopefully the concerts you go to in the future are going to be more uplifting. But the last song he played was "Meat Is Murder," and up on the screen, he had these images and videos of just the most horrifying things happening to animals. And while he's singing "Meat Is Murder," he winds up laying on the stage crying, and then the show's over. And you're like, okay, that was fun.
So was that the end of his show, or was that the beginning of my cooking episode?
Yeah, no kidding.
I just say, so he was portraying a college sophomore.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, there we go.
But so guys, so what's going on now though? But the Smiths music is really interesting and revolutionary, and I'm a huge fan of Johnny Marr, who did all the music for them. Well, Rick Astley apparently is another fan of the Smiths,
okay,
believe it or not.
cool.
I mean, he couldn't be more polar opposite
He's
in
never
this
gonna
music.
give them up.
Oh, there
I've
you
never
go.
been Smith rolled.
Well,
Let's just put it that way. I've never been Smith rolled.
well, there's a band called The Blossoms, and in full disclosure, I don't know who they are, but they're really good.
They're a band.
But they teamed up with Rick Astley, and they're doing Rick Astley, and they're doing Smith's tribute concerts. And these things, I've seen some footage. They're pretty good. I hope they put out a high quality video of this, because I would pay to see this. I'm not ashamed to say it, man. I'd be all over
That's one of
that.
those things
This
they
is
need to
coming
do.
from a man that likes the
They
Aquabats.
needed to do a simulcast.
Yeah.
Mm.
I hope they will, and it's apparently blowing up the internet. And if you're a Smiths fan, we'd love to know what you think of this. The Smiths are gothic, though. I mean, I think that fits in.
And they're definitely your kind of music.
Yeah, absolutely. You're
Still
listening.
cracks me up.
You're listening to Geek Tank Radio here on News Talk 98.9, The Roar of Memphis. We're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to hear all about Brandon's haunted web experience.
Geek Tank Radio. News Talk 98.9, The Roar of Memphis.
Brandon, we're back on the air. Get a hold of yourself.
That sounded like you were opening.
And welcome back to Geek Tank Radio. I'm Joe Thorderson, here with my friends Brandon Olmsted and Alan Gilbreth, and our buddy Max behind the glass, keeping us awake and alert and sometimes horrified.
That's what I sounded like when I found out Joe was using a microwave for dinner.
Alan just can't get past that
Oh,
sponsor.
it's just, oh.
Move it along, son. Okay, so Brandon, you went to the Haunted Web, and a big shout out. They gave you some complimentary press passes. Is that what we got here?
That's pretty much how it worked. Our amazing promotion. We were able to hook me up. Sorry about that, guys. But you go. It's an experience unlike any other haunted experience I've been to. I've done corn mazes. I've done haunted houses. I've walked through, the train yards at midnight for no reason whatsoever. I've been to
I didn't know that.
Village. I've done horribly dangerous things. This is the one I'll keep paying for.
Right.
What is it actually?
Okay.
Because to be honest, I know that since the days I went to haunted houses, they've evolved quite a bit. Back in my day, it was pretty simple.
Back in your day, it was a bunch of guys in rubber masks in corners in a dark hallway who jumped out and scared you.
Yeah.
And you'd have various things like your various cemetery and funeral home prop type stuff. You'd have a guy in a coffin who'd jump at you.
Right.
Every once in a while there'd be something that would spit water at you. But that's not what you find here.
Okay.
I'm
No.
not going to go into a whole lot of detail because I want you guys to go and experience this because it's amazing. And it's not your typical haunted house. In fact, it is a haunted environment.
Exactly.
Oh, interesting.
You start off in the Slotch Sanitarium, and you move through all of that.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's called slodge.
And then
Yep.
slodge.
Oh.
And then into a bayou.
Off to the swamp, right.
Totally New Orleans feel.
Yep.
You've got above ground mausoleum,
Right.
crypts and everything. It's so cool going through there. And then, of course, you will eventually run into your visual effects. Like there's a room that is black and white and it's flashing lights, and you don't realize it until you're just about there. There is somebody walking in front of you in a suit that's basically checkerboard that blends into the flashing, and you don't see them.
Oh, wow.
And that's just the tip of the iceberg. They have ROUSs that'll jump out.
Yes.
They've got it.
What's RUOS?
Rodents of unusual
Oh,
size.
sorry. I got to turn in
Joe,
my
turn in
geek
your card.
Yeah.
Joe, turn in your card.
And here's the great thing that they did this year is they've also added 3 10-minute escape rooms.
Oh.
So you get
Interesting.
You get the escape room experience, and then of course you've got the full-on haunted environment. The thing that they keep every year, I think that they're all right. They can't top what they did the year before. Yeah, they do. The Bayou area, the Voodoo Village thing is my favorite part of the entire experience because you really feel like you're there. the way the wind comes in from, whether they're fans, I don't know how they actually do it, but it feels like you're getting a breeze off of the water. And
Wait, where is it? I don't even know where it is.
Right,
where is the Haunted Web?
All right, it is at the corner of Perkins and 240.
Yeah.
The actual address is, I think, 2665 South Perkins Road, 38117. It's where the old Toys R Us.
Yeah, because I used to be there every week with my kids when they spent their allowance there. So
Right.
I know exactly where it is.
So, I mean,
That's a big space.
You got a really good setup.
It's still Brandon's version of Toys R Us.
Yeah.
Exactly. You always see these stores that have closed down and like Spirit Halloween moves into them.
Right.
Well, instead, the guys at the Haunted Web moved into this, and this has been their permanent location. The sets are built in there. It's just really awesome. They've got a couple more weekends here. I think it's the first weekend in November, though, will be their Lights Out weekend where you do the whole thing in the dark.
Ooh, boy.
Which is, in itself, one of the creepiest things that I've ever
Yeah.
And then for 2 weeks in December, they do a Christmas haunt.
Even better.
It's a little more family friendly. But
I hope
it's
so,
still
yeah,
just
yeah.
as-
Very Victorian of
Very
them, because that was the big thing with ghost stories and that kind of stuff.
But I mean, I got to give it up to it's like Jeremy and Crystal and Ethan. Ethan's the guy who does all the design work and everything, and he just puts his heart and soul into this. And their cast of characters, whether they're haunt actors behind the scenes, the folks working the line, they do an amazing job of making sure that you enjoy everything. Even standing in line, a lot of times there's something going on that will keep your attention. So even on Halloween night, when it's the longest line and there's a 2-hour wait, there will be things moving amongst the crowd that'll get you.
Can I say one thing, Brandon? Sure. I made an observation because about 5 years ago we got passes because I don't do as much of this as I used to. I think it's cool, but I did a tour before they opened. They were just getting ready to open, and they showed me what they were doing. And I was impressed with how passionate everybody involved. Like you said, everybody involved really cares about this. But what's interesting about these haunted houses and everything is how quickly they adopt the latest technology. Because like I said, it's always cutting edge.
The first year that I remember doing Haunted Web at the Perkins location, they had a thing set up which was basically you're walking on a bridge in a swamp, and they've got the way the lasers lay out and the fog machines and everything. You feel like you are genuinely walking through that area. And of course, they've expanded that now with their whole bayou setting and the cabins and everything. It's just, if you don't know, if you just let your mind go for a minute, you feel like you're in a completely different environment. You definitely don't feel like you're inside.
No, it's cool. It's like performance art / theater /
There's really an amazing catacomb setup.
Yeah.
That once you go and you see it, you'll know what I'm talking about. The light coming through there is creepy. It's just plain creepy. And of course, I took my wife and 2 friends who are not really big horror guys. So, I got to hear them gasp and jump and everything.
Well, having been part of getting one of these things together once upon a time of our other show, Tool Talk Radio, you have no idea how much overlap there is between building and creating. And Joe, we love to talk about lighting on the other show.
The lighting is, to me, the key with all
the
this. The
lighting here is on crack and steroids because it truly creates.
The lighting itself is a character.
Yes.
Yeah.
Especially when you get into the later areas where it's kind of like a rundown carnival.
Ooh.
It's kind of like where you would expect carnival folk to retire to.
Right.
And there's a room that's full of hanging stuffed animals.
Oh yeah, I mean, if you cast a shadow from underneath, they're going to look real sinister.
At that point, it's like I can get through all of it. That's when I get creeped out. Is the carnival scene.
The doll rooms, the toy rooms, that kind of stuff. Those are always freaky.
Walking in front of the targets and you see the guns. Yeah.
Yeah.
How long does it take to get through the whole thing? Because it sounds like it's a pretty big.
Honestly, I can't say that it takes too long to get through it. It feels a lot longer than it actually takes.
Okay.
I feel like it's like you go in there, you feel like you've been in there like an hour, you've been in there like 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of noteworthy things that you're taking mental pictures.
Right.
Is this going to scare? Like, does this scare people? Because do they have like an age restriction? I don't want my 6-year-old going through there or something.
You can take. There is a. It's basically we're trusting. I think they're trusting parental judgment.
Okay. That's
I
first mistake. Yeah.
The night that I was there, I wouldn't say that I saw anybody who wasn't at least a teenager.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But I have been at at these events, and I have heard grown men scream like they are being murdered. Jumps out.
You know what it reminds me of, Brandon? In the Dark Knight, when the Joker was talking about, like, it's kind of mean, but when he, at the end of their life, because he's killing them, that you see them for who they really are. I feel like it's the same thing with a haunted house. All pretense is gone because you're going to get people at their most vulnerable spot. You're going to see them who they really are.
It's in the dark, so I mean,
yeah.
Your friends have to prove that you're the one who squealed. But no, a couple years back we were going through, and there was somebody who I was actually at the back of our group, and somebody from above in front of us had run up to us and like grabbed a hold of me, and I thought that this is a no touch haunt. Turn around, and it's just like this very scared individual, and I'm like going,
No, I got climbed like a tree.
Yeah.
Well, it's a young lady thought she could handle it, a preteen.
Yeah.
And no, not so much.
So,
a certain character in a certain scene sent her looking for the largest thing she could find to protect her. Happened to be me.
Hey, so how many skeletons out of 10 are you giving this? So.
I'm giving this like a full 12, man.
12 out of 10.
There you go.
And beyond. And guys, I'm just gonna tell you, it's worth the $25 to do the haunt itself. That's your general admission. For $40, you get the fast pass where you don't have to wait in line.
Right.
But I like the line.
The line is part of the experience.
The line ride is just as much fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, this year, guys, you definitely want to check out these escape rooms. They take it above and beyond.
It's cool.
Awesome.
The Haunted Web, I guess there's a website. I'm sure you can just go to it.
hauntedweb.com.
Oh, nice and easy. How did they get that? That's pretty good.
They've
That's
had that for
domain.
years.
It's been years.
Yeah.
Okay, or Allan sold it to him. That's kind of his game.
True, too.
Allan is like one of those guys. He buys every domain he can think of, and then he sits back and waits for them.
GeekTankRadio.com, and I have for 10 years.
And Tool Talk
We
Radio.
haven't even come here.
Yeah. All right. Well, that sounds pretty cool, Brandon. You're listening to Tool Talk. You're listening to Geek Tank Radio.
It doesn't matter. We're all here.
Here on News Talk 98.9 The Roar of Memphis. We're going to take a quick break, then we're going to give you our Bad Geek Confession.
Geek Tank Radio. News Talk 98.9, The Roar of Memphis.
All this anger in the room. And welcome back to Geek Tank Radio.
You put the food in the microwave, dude.
Just get over the food thing. I'm Joe Thorderson here with my friends Brandon Olmstead and Alan Gilbreth and our buddy Max. I mean, how much food? You talk about traumatizing a man. You talk about putting meat in a.
That's like asking a vegan to drink.
Okay, Alan. Full disclosure, or behind the curtain, Alan doesn't even own a microwave. Neither does Brandon. I'm not starting a discussion, but I just find that interesting. So, anyway, we'll discuss that off the air. Hey, guys, real quick, I want to mention something. While you were on your tour of the Haunted Web, it's funny. I was on a tour myself, and I want to just give a nice shout out. I've never been to Elmwood Cemetery. My wife and I went for the tour, and it was really interesting. They had 7 or 8 actors that basically brought to life some different people who have been buried there.
It really is.
It's an amazingly nice tour.
But I'm telling you, if you've never been to Elmwood Cemetery, I've driven by 100 times, but you don't get the experience. That is one of the most beautiful places in Memphis.
It is.
It's such a peaceful and just really fascinating place. I mean, you could spend days looking at all the
It's a great place to
headstones
pick up 75,000 new really quiet friends.
Yeah, it's great. And I would say, believe it or not, I find it sort of inspirational to go there because you're like, wow.
It absolutely is. I mean, I'm going to tell you that there are several cemeteries in and around Memphis that are just gorgeous places to
Yes.
sit and hang out.
Yeah.
And Elmwood tops the list.
Yeah, I was really impressed.
I don't know if they're still doing it at this point in the year, but if they're not, next year when they start their film series, you should totally go check that out.
Oh, I'm going to be...
It's amazing.
Yeah, I'm signing up for all of their, I want to be on their, this is one I want to be on their mailing list and find out all the things they do.
Well, they actually have a photographer in residence.
Oh, yeah.
Every year.
We know
every
who that
year.
is.
Every year they have a new photographer in residence, just to give you an idea, the scope of the facility. Yeah.
I will say this, too. You step through the gates at Elmwood, and honestly, I felt like I was in a different place because there was these rolling hills and it almost has this vibe that you just feel like you're in another
back in time a little bit. Yeah
Very cool.
It's this moment of quaintness. You don't feel like you're in the middle of Memphis anymore.
And there is something interesting to learn. One of the coolest characters they brought to life was this lady. Forget her name, but she was called the Mary Magdalene of Memphis. She was a woman of the night, let's just say, and she converted her place of business into a hospital during the yellow fever and became like this great hero to Memphis. And it was just really interesting. I'm like, I never heard of this woman before, and it was very cool.
Elmwood's a great place to learn about the history of this city through the eyes of the people who are no longer with us.
Yeah, really cool. So I highly recommend take a trip over to Elmwood Cemetery and check it out. So, all right, guys. Well, we've got this ready, and so it's time to get down to it.
I'm going to tell you something about me that only 3 people in my life know. Can I trust you?
Please sit down, Mary. I'm going to tell you everything.
Everyone has secrets. Everyone tells lies.
Obi-Wan never told you what happened to your father.
I've seen things.
I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
Boy, there's a blast from the past, Brandon. That's from the old show. That's from like the old days, people. So one of the things too, I hope we're going to start posting some of our old classic episodes. But that's our bad geek confession. When you hear that, you know that something interesting is about to happen.
Someone's about to get shamed. They're going to get paid for it.
You get rewarded for your shame. Well, so folks, if you're new to Geek Tank Radio, we one of the things that we're very proud of is our Bad Geek Confessions, and Brandon came up with this many years ago, and we're resurrecting it from the dead, I guess, or
Hey, it's
Halloween, right?
And so we've been collecting, and we encourage you if you want to. Before I read this, Brandon, how do people send us their Bad Geek Confessions?
Guys, you can send us our Bad Geek Confession by going to geektankradio.com and hitting the contact page and just filling it out and sending it there. Or you can leave it in, with us via geektankradio@gmail.com.
Right.
Or if you want to text it to Joe, I'm not going to give you his phone number. You listen to Tool Talk, you'll get it there.
Well, you can, or if it just, memphiscfc.com at Gmail, you get it to us. Just don't post it on Facebook. The whole notion is we need it in secret.
We will keep your secret.
Yeah.
Until it's time to not keep yours. Yeah.
And so
we won't read your name if you don't want to. And we'll totally throw your friends under the bus too. That's always fun.
Yeah, but the benefit is if we read your Bad Geek Confession on the air and we find it entertaining, make it juicy, folks. We don't want something boring like saying I don't like Wesley Crusher from Star Trek. Who cares? That's not a bad confession. We want something embarrassing.
That just means you're a Trek.
Yeah, it means you're sort of a normal guy. But anyway, and you'll win 2 free passes to the Memphis Comic and Fantasy Convention taking place November 12th through 14th at the Memphis Marriott East. Learn more at memphiscfc.com. All right, let's get to it, guys. So this Bad Geek Confession comes to us from Martha. Funny how there's no last name attached. We won't read your last name,
But is her child's name Clark or Bruce?
Yeah. All right, let's stay focused, sir. Here's
what you didn't get that?
Right,
really?
I get it. Here's what Martha said. She said, "I am a closet furry." Okay.
A good place for one.
All of my friends hate furries, but I'm in love with the fans and the fursuits. Apparently she does not apologize for this. However, she's in the closet about it, you guys. So let's flesh this out. Let's try to help Martha with this situation. So, or at least ridicule her.
Just let your fur flag.
That's all I gotta say.
Go get your suit. Find your persona. Embrace the things you love, and if your friends don't like it, don't invite them to the FurCon.
Well,
it's like it's kind of like the safety dance. If your friends don't want to go in the fuzzy room, tell them don't.
And if you're out there and you really don't know what a furry is, because we get some listeners who maybe don't know. This is a unique fan base. These guys get together and they wear big fur suits, and sometimes I will admit there's a creepy contingent that's in there where they make it a little racy or something. So you got to watch out.
They got villainized by an episode of CSI.
Yeah, they did.
Decades ago. Whenever the original CSI.
Yep. Giant raccoon suit.
And they never were able to break through because people immediately. I've met furries across the board, and yes, there are some furries who want to take more of an adult take on it. But there's also a ton of them that we know, and Joe, you'd be surprised at some of them who they have a fursona, which is they never put the
fursona
on, but they have a character online, almost like an RPG type thing.
Right. Yeah. And the costuming that these people, the lengths they will go to is absolutely amazing.
Well, I was going to say, a furry suit is nothing to, that is an expensive operation.
We've always said that con folks are intense and very passionate about the convention. Cosplayers are amazing. Rennies go a little crazy, but nobody has the full-on, I don't even know what the right word for it is.
I'm going to say dedication to being a furry, because
dedication is the closest I can come to. Because, the furries, they deserve a major applaud for doing what they do for their fandom.
Yeah, if you're dressed like a giant cartoony rabbit or something, that suit is hot.
Being the only person in the room that has professionally been a costume character.
I've worn a mascot suit before.
I would say, wait a minute, Brandon, you've been a mascot. Yeah. All right. You and I both feel the pain. It takes devotion to be inside of one of those suits.
You're sore for days afterwards.
Yeah.
It's a lot more work than people think it is.
Well,
we salute her. We salute her. And you know what? Come to the con, get your fur on, come on around and enjoy yourself.
Well, here, Martha, I'm going to just give you a personal, for me, basically. I grew up in the 80s, and I'll just be honest. If you liked Boy George, people were like, "Oh gosh," because I grew up listening to Led Zeppelin or the Smiths or these groups, and then
George could sing, man.
When people would say, "Really, you like Boy George?" I would flip it right around, and I'm like, "Have you heard that guy's voice? The guy's got a beautiful singing voice. He's very talented." And yes, I don't apologize. The big thing is this being in the closet thing, Martha. Just embrace it. Who cares what people think?
Fly that furry flag. Huh?
Yeah,
fly it out there.
Just own it, and you'll be much happier.
Embrace the things you love, and unapologetically embrace the things you love.
Yeah.
Well, let's face it. We make a living out of doing dumb things in public.
Yeah, but it's more your mindset, though. Like I said, I think the biggest thing it's gonna you might even bring along some new fans, and you might even discover you've got some other friends that are actually closet furries themselves.
They may feel the same way you do, and the only reason they pretend to hate it is because they're afraid of what you might say.
Yeah, so just quit worrying about what they say. So, all right, I think we actually helped Martha. Well, she got 2 free tickets.
Kind of scary. Honestly, she got to go to the con and wear a furry suit.
You're listening to Geek Tank Radio here on News Talk 98.9 The Roar Memphis. We're going to take a quick break, and then we have to talk about William Shatner going to outer space.
Geek Tank Radio.
And it's not out of the question that you might have a very minor case of serious brain damage.
News Talk 98.9, The Roar of Memphis.
Boy, does that explain this room. And welcome back to Geek Tank Radio.
Well, you are the one who put my mic in the microwave with your steak.
Does it work now, Max? I hope Brandon's... Apparently, it's all squirrely around here today. it's what are you going to do? Live radio.
It's just one of the, you just have one of those days every so often.
Anyway, you're listening to Geek Tank Radio. I'm Joe Thorderson here with my friends Brandon Olmsted and Alan Gilbreth.
We're not friends at this point. We're family.
And and our buddy Max behind the glass. And another big shout out to Martha, who submitted her bad geek confession about being a closet furry.
Man.
She's going to win 2 free passes to the Memphis Comic and Fantasy Convention. We want you to send us your bad geek confession.
I want to see the furry suit now.
Yeah,
I'm kind of curious
I
now.
See what Martha suits
man,
up as. So
rock this thing out, man. Come on.
Hey, the other thing about being a closet furry, Alan, it's the best disguise you're ever going to get. You can march right out there in public in your furry suit, and nobody's going to know who you are anyway. So,
hey, Gene Simmons did a giant rabbit at Dragon Con.
Yeah, there you go. That's what William Shatner used to do to sneak around Star Trek conventions. He just put a space mask on and you're in disguise. So anyway, big shout out to Martha. So, but speaking
also
of William,
a big shout out to William Shatner.
Well, I was about to say, speaking of William Shatner, he did something sort of noteworthy this week.
Oh man,
yeah.
What a just
First of all, he's 90 and he's above ground. He's coherent and he's doing things. So that alone, big shout out. Because
I'm 44 and I'm like not really above ground these days.
If I'm in that kind of shape when I'm 90, I'll be pretty happy. But you guys, so how long was he up in the air for? Or how
what was it?
11, 12 minutes. It's like a 90-minute total flight.
Yeah. But he was above the atmosphere for, I think it was 11 minutes.
Okay, so boy, the memes are already out there. I mean,
yeah,
he's holding something. Ripping Picard or whatever. I don't remember. It was like it's just
You know what? He had a great time.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna have a great deal of fun putting cute pictures outside the window because I've already seen the Star Wars scenes. I've already seen the Gremlin. I've already seen him looking horrified, looking back in the window at himself. I've already seen.
Oh, we've seen.
I've seen the Bernie Sanders in the chair with the mittens sitting outside the window. I've seen.
Oh, this is going to take that place. Right? This is going to put the Bernie meme out of
this is going to be Bill Shatner breaks the internet.
Yeah, but it's pretty impressive, and I guess it goes to show how I want to say commonplace space travel is going to become in the near future. I mean, that's the goal, right? It's going to be where. Maybe our kids are going to be going to space just to go take a vacation or something.
Hail science!
Okay.
Now I'm gonna give a little shout out to Nichelle Nichols because she was actually part of a recruiting program for NASA a few years ago.
Cool deal.
To get people get especially young ladies interested in hard sciences and hard exploration, because let's face it, as the show says, it is the final frontier.
Yeah.
Nice.
So, I just find that totally awesome that a really kind of off-the-wall idea show supported by Lucille Ball back in the 60s
well, that's
really
true.
honestly has changed the world.
Well,
thank you, Mr. Roddenberry. I mean, let's just kind of wow, what a vision.
Well, it's kind of the chicken and the egg thing, right? Because they basically came to the public eye, you could say. The space program really ramped up in the 60s.
Yep.
And then Star Trek comes along 66, and you could say they both kind of motivated each other, right?
They did.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it is full circle seeing, and I think it's fitting that William Shatner went up, because full disclosure, I actually like Star Trek: The Next Generation better as a show, but I think it's better to go with the original in this situation.
It was years later. It was a different take on the show, and it had a different cast and style. But the one thing Star Trek has done since the very beginning is that it has been an instantly recognizable icon around the world, in even the most passing of references.
Sure. Yeah.
You can be watching an old British comedy like Are You Being Served? And there'll be an off-the-cuff Star Trek or Doctor Who reference.
Right.
And pretty much everybody gets one of those two.
Which is interesting, because I would guess there's a lot of younger people that have probably never watched the original, but they still know what it means if you say, I want to beam in, or Spock lives, or whatever.
No intelligent life down here, beam me up, Scotty.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, let's just talk about the red shirt reference. I mean,
still to this day.
To this day.
Yeah, a red shirt.
And I mean,
unless you're Scotty.
And it's amazing how many younger people are they're discovering Star Trek through like Star Trek Discovery or Lower Decks or Short Treks, and then they're going back and they're watching the old stuff, and it's like when we had Star Trek Day here the first time we were at Fox and Hound before it became Craft Republic. Mm-hmm. I was sitting at the front desk, passing out badges, and I had the animated series running on my Netflix account on my iPad right there. And I had people who were at least 10 years my senior who were coming in, seeing me watching this, animated Star Trek, who didn't know that there had been an animated Star Trek series.
You know what's interesting about that? Because that was during that era of super cheap animation.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like where it's like they're just standing there and the mouths are moving.
As opposed to today's super cheap looking animation that cost a ton.
Yeah. But there's fans out there that will tell you that some of the most interesting content actually came out of the animated show because they weren't limited. If they want to show you a space monster or whatever, they don't have to build the monster. They just draw it. But I've heard some pretty good writing, and most of the cast actually did the animated show.
Well, it was kind of a reunion of sorts because it'd been several years, and most of them had gone on their different careers.
Yeah.
And then they kind of got this call, hey, you want to be a voice?
Yeah.
Sure, but they all kind of got together again. It's like, oh, hey, I haven't seen you in a while.
Yeah, they're like, okay, so instead of working 16 hours a day under blazing lights, I'll come in, do this voice work for 4 hours, and then just
head out of here. And I do like the fact that Leonard Nimoy's daughter sent Shatner a nice note that said, "Enjoy your flight. My dad would have so gone with you."
Yeah,
and I was thinking,
cool.
He did. He went with him.
Well. Who are the next, and one thing people have said, and I totally agree with this, we need to start launching artists, musicians, people that can express the beauty of outer space, more artistically maybe than, Neil Armstrong or something. I know we need those guys, but it's like, I think we need poets.
Elton John.
What, Max? What did you say?
Elton John wrote the song Rocket Man. They needed to get old Rocket Man up in space.
Yeah.
Makes sense to me.
He'd go up there?
Oh, Elton would so go.
Okay.
I have a feeling he would, after seeing him in, a couple of movies recently, plus his commercials, that would just be the wildest trip ever. You could charge extra to go with him.
Well, he'd get a weekend away from Bernie.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm just thinking of who I want to send up there just to,
Now, do you want to send him up or do you want to get him back?
Wait, has Elon Musk ever actually gone up?
Oh,
no.
Who cares about Elon Musk? I want to send Alex Ross.
Huh. Wait, Alex Ross, is that Bob Ross's son?
No, but he is a painter. He's known for doing, like Kingdom Come and Marvels and stuff like that.
Alex Ross.
Yeah.
The one from the 70s?
No.
I'm thinking of Molly Hatch. I don't know.
Joe, are you trying to do like a General Zod thing where you exile people into space? Are we getting into a darker side of you?
We're going to send Joe up. We're gonna put
Joe'd come up. Joe'd come back and go, it's round.
Joe's going in a pod with Dr. Judgmentor and going into space.
Okay.
Oof.
You know what William Shatner said that was interesting? He had this observation because he's sitting there looking at it. He goes, you look down, and he was comparing it its life. It's teeming with, the Earth is teeming with life. You look up and it's black.
Nothing.
And death. Like he was saying, the contrast between life and death, and then the thin little layer keeping us, you think about it. What? Is it even 50 miles thick, our atmosphere? I mean, it is in the big scheme of things, and that's what's keeping everything away from us.
Yeah. And he was actually a little overcome with emotion when he actually got back on the ground and walked out. And the magnitude of everything he had just experienced kind of hit him. And it was interesting to see his response as kind of an average, everyday person, because he didn't spend his whole life training to go on this mission to perform these functions and do these things.
Yeah.
He was much more reminiscent of the first astronauts going into space because they really had no preconceived notion of what was going to happen.
There were even pictures. Nobody knew what it was going to look like.
So, I mean, we've talked about this before. The spirit of exploration and the can-do spirit and the get out there and go do stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, all right. One, the fact that it was Captain Kirk just was a social event that had to happen.
Oh yeah,
because it could.
Think of the recruiting tool too. How many Trekkies are going to join the space program now? So.
And let's say something for people getting older. Dude just went into space at 90. Do not ever tell me you're too old to do something.
Yeah, that's true, man. So it's pretty exciting, and I mean, hats off to Shatner. The guy, you talk about somebody that's had a pretty good run. I mean, what hasn't the guy done? So he's traveled to Africa.
Well, he is now a very tiny club that says, I have been to space.
Yeah. No, it's pretty cool. And I guess the fun, too, is going to be watching the memes and everything that rolls out of
Well,
this.
he's going to break the internet for a while.
And once he gets his head together and he can start maybe writing about this, because he's a really good writer.
He is.
The guy's a good writer.
What I was thinking, too, is like Allan said that, like now that he's part of a elite club, even less people have been to the bottom of the ocean. Now we need to send Jason Momoa to the bottom of the ocean.
Oh, there we go. Boom. Drop the mic. That's a great idea.
It's Momoa. He's been.
And he would so go.
Yeah.
He would so go.
And he won't even need he won't even need a submarine. That's a good idea. I like that idea. So, okay. Well, hey, guys, this, if you listen to Geek Tank Radio, we're full of good ideas. So, Allan.
We're full of something.
Allan, if they miss any of our past shows, what do they need to do?
They need to go over to geektankradio.com. They can check out all of the past episodes, click around, look at some of our stuff up there. And better yet, they can take us with them now.
Absolutely.
We're now on the Spotify platform.
I love Spotify. And so stay in touch, people. But it's time to get out of here. So until next week, we are the Geek Patrol, and I am Joe Thorderson.
I'm Allan Gilbreth.
I'm Maximilian.
And I'm Brandon Olmsted, challenging you to find something they say you're too old to do.